The phone wasn't mine, and it definitely wasn't supposed to be there. It was hidden inside the back of Daniel's closet, inside an old shoebox. At first, I thought it was just an old phone he forgot about, but then the screen lit up, and a message appeared. "I miss you. When can I see you again?" My stomach dropped, because the contact name wasn't mine. And the worst part? The phone was still active. Before that moment, I thought my life was stable, predictable, safe. My name is Claire. I'm 34 now. And Daniel and I had been married for 7 years. We met in the most ordinary way possible. A mutual friend's birthday dinner. I remember the restaurant smelled like grilled steak and garlic butter. There was music playing softly in the background, and Daniel sat across from me. He had this calm confidence about him. Not loud, not showy, just steady. At one point, he leaned toward me and said, "Do you always analyze people this much, or just strangers at restaurants?" I laughed. "I'm not analyzing you. You just looked at me like you were reading my mind." That was Daniel, playful, charming, the kind of man who made you feel like the only person in the room. Our first real date was 2 days later, a small coffee shop, rain tapping against the windows. We talked for 4 hours about childhood, dreams, fears. He told me he wanted a quiet life, a home, a family someday, and the way he said it made me believe he meant every word. 6 months later, we moved in together. 2 years after that, he proposed. Nothing fancy, just a walk in the park. But it felt perfect because I trusted him completely, or at least I thought I did. The first changes were small. So small they were easy to ignore. Daniel started working later. At first it made sense. His company was expanding. More responsibility, more pressure. But then the late nights became normal. Sometimes he wouldn't get home until midnight, sometimes later. I would ask, "Everything okay at work?" And he'd sigh. Just deadlines. I wanted to believe him, but something felt different. Not wrong, just distant. His phone was always with him, even in the shower, even when he stepped outside to take calls. One night, I reached for his phone to check the time, and he grabbed it quickly, almost instinctively. "Sorry," he said. "Work stuff." I nodded, but a quiet voice in my head whispered, "That was strange." Still, I told myself the same thing many people do. Maybe I was overthinking. Maybe marriage just changes over time. Maybe this was normal, but the distance kept growing, and eventually, silence replaced the small conversations we used to have. The night I found the phone, I wasn't looking for anything. Daniel had gone out to meet a client. I was cleaning the bedroom closet, just reorganizing old boxes, winter clothes, old shoes, random junk we never threw away. That's when I noticed the shoebox. It looked out of place, taped shut, hidden behind old jackets. Inside was a phone, not Daniel's current one, a different one, older. But when I pressed the power button, it turned on immediately, and within seconds, a message appeared. "I wish you stayed longer last night." My chest tightened. I opened the messages, dozens of conversations, photos, plans, inside jokes, 3 years of messages, with the same woman. Her name was Sophie, and the texts were unmistakable. They weren't friendly, they were intimate. One message read, "Does your wife suspect anything?" Another said, "I hate sharing you." I sat there on the floor, frozen. The room suddenly felt too quiet, too small. My hands started shaking because the realization hit me slowly, like a wave rising before it crashes. My husband hadn't just been lying, he had been living another life. Daniel came home an hour later. I was still sitting on the bed, holding the phone. He walked into the room, smiling, until he saw it. The smile disappeared immediately. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he whispered, "Claire." I held up the phone. "How long?" Silence. Then he ran his hand through his hair. "It's not what you think." I laughed, but it didn't sound like laughter. 3 years of messages. Photos. Trips. "What exactly do you think I think?" He sat down. slowly, like his legs couldn't hold him. She doesn't mean anything. That sentence hurt more than the messages. Then why hide a second phone? He didn't answer, just stared at the floor. And suddenly the past few years made sense. The late nights, the secret calls, the distance. I felt something inside me collapse, not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly, like a building giving up its foundation. And the question that haunted me most was simple. Was any of it real? I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I just stood up, placed the phone on the table, and said something I never thought I'd say. "I'm leaving tonight." Daniel looked up quickly. "Claire, wait." But I was already walking away. Some people think the hardest part is discovering the truth. It's not. The hardest part is realizing you deserved better all along. The divorce was finalized 8 months later, and rebuilding my life wasn't easy. There were days I questioned everything, my judgment, my memories, my self-worth. But slowly, the quiet returned, and with it, clarity. Sometimes I still think about that phone, hidden in a shoebox, like a secret that was never meant to be found. And I wonder something. If I hadn't opened that box, how many more years would I have lived in that lie? Because sometimes the truth doesn't destroy your life. It reveals it. So, I'm curious, if you were in my position, would you have confronted him immediately or walked away without saying a word?